think.
Hey!
Yeah. There we are, we're alive. It's just
We're alive!
we're alive. So yeah, this has been a long time coming, and I have to apologise to viewers. But if you saw my last update, then you know that this is actually happening when I said that it was going to happen. So this is a step in the right direction. So welcome to episode 3 of Black Dog, where we look at mental health and how it's portrayed in media. Now, we were going to do a book, and we were going to film the last one back in January, but sort of lives happen and work happens. So we had a bit of a hiatus. And also the book we were going to review in January, the author committed suicide, and we kind of decided to take a pause there as well, out of respect for him. So in the few months that passed, we decided to change up the show a little bit. So we will be primarily looking at movies and games, occasionally delving into TV shows and looking at this kind of thing and how mental health is portrayed in there. And this month we decided to look at What About Bob, which is a movie with Bill Murray and is a comedy, question mark?
Yeah.
But this is my fellow presenter, Sophie.
Oh.
And we are down a Jack today who is ill, so it's just the two of us on today's show. But what are you drinking, my friend?
I'm allowed to do brand names. It's Scrumpy Jack cider. We're taking a Ripper Jack again.
We're just, doing free advertising for various drink things.
It's very good.
I don't think I ever tried Scrumpy Jack, actually.
It's nice.
Really dry.
English cider. Yeah, it's pretty dry. Made by Simmons cider pressers in Hereford.
Cider buffs out there. You should go and try some various ciders.
Oh, yeah.
After trying Cloudberry, when I saw you a week or two ago, I decided to have Copperberg.
Ooh, the elderflower one is delicious.
Elderflower and lime. Now, I really didn't think I would like it because I've tried a few ciders with lime and they're usually too sweet and a bit gross. But this is so nice.
Mm.
So nice.
But anything with elderflower in usually hits the spot. You can get elderflower sorbets really nice. So elderflower cider is double the good.
Double the good. Oh yeah, and you should try the. I sent you a message where I talked about Old Moot cider.
Ooh, yeah, that looked good.
It's really good. Try the cider.
I will.
Yes, this is not actually about cider. This is about. So, yes, it was recommended that we watch What About Bob, and it's kind of a comedy drama, mainly comedy movie with, I'm not even sure, with Bill Murray, who plays a multiphobic individual who his therapist kind of drops him and he gets moved to another therapist who doesn't really care about his patients. He is very egotistical and he cares more about the kind of psychological books that he writes and the money that makes and the prestige that he gets from that. And then you have Bob have this very inappropriate sort of relationship where he essentially hunts down his therapist, and then you kind of question who's got the problems. Is it actually Bob or is it the therapist? So that's just kind of short little blurb for you. So what did you think about the movie?
Yeah, it's a very odd one. Keep making me watch these odd films. I don't know. It didn't make me feel uncomfortable at all, like the last couple, so that's a good thing. No uncomfortability. Except for the end, with the way the therapist is, I think it's really sort of that put me off a little bit. Just his attitude towards the patients. It was like, oh, that's not nice.
I think
But
we need to say now that there will be spoilers in this because we're obviously reviewing the film. So if you don't want spoilers, what about Bob? You shouldn't be watching the show. So spoil away.
yay! Um, yeah, really liked Bill Murray's character. Sort of despite, everything they said was wrong with him. I like that he was just sort of very open about it. Sort of, no, this is what's wrong with me.
Hmm.
And the fact that normal people were accepting of him and sort of just like, oh yeah, you go, Bob, find out what you need to do. And the therapist was completely opposite, and it's sort of like the therapist represented what you'd expect people to be like.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I couldn't decide. I think my attitude towards the film changed as I was watching it
Mm.
because I don't know. In my notes that I wrote, like another very much kind of driven message was actually reflecting that okay, it's a therapist that is the one that has problems and it's just kind of funny and he kind of explodes and it's all and maybe kind of the not subtle point that Bob has all these problems but he's actually completely normal.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, he's looking at it in a positive light. You can say that the movie meant okay, mental illness doesn't define you, so he's completely, he's not what people have in their heads necessarily when they think of mental health issues. They might think of somebody who is crazy.
Mm.
That's not the case ever, generally.
No.
And I think that was a problem because I couldn't decide whether that was really the message or whether they were having a bit of a laugh now and again. I don't know. Some bits did make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, like some of the bits of Bob sort of on the bus and everything,
Mm.
like with everyone sort of moving away from him, and the first therapist, how he reacted, sort of just like passing him on.
Yes, yeah.
Was a
And they
bit like,
clapped as well. When he's on the bus, he's very afraid and kind of pretending to, or not pretending to. Well, that's another thing I'm going to come to. So he's like urging and making noises, and he gets off the bus, and everybody claps very over the top, like yeah, he's gone, and the bus moves on. And I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't know. You're trying to make the situation light in a comedic sense, but was it actually
at the expense of mental health issues?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was, even if it wasn't intended, I don't know whether it was kind of framed in the right way. I'm not sure.
No, jury's out on that one.
How about Bill Murray's portrayal of Bob as multiphobic?
I don't really know what my feelings on Bill Murray are. I've never been able to make up my mind about him. So as a multiphobic personality, I think he did quite well, sort of with portraying someone with no personal space boundaries and no social awareness. Sort of, especially the way he is with the therapist and his family, because obviously he follows them on vacation and finds out where they live. And I think he portrayed that really well.
Yeah.
Just walking up and going, oh, hey, you have a lovely family. This is really amazing. Maybe we should do this. But other bits where it felt like it was being played up for comedic value. Like obviously, oh yeah, no, I have Tourette's. And the shouting and.
Although the testicle head bosom beaver it is a sentence I think I will be using in the future.
Where they have the Tourette's match, the shouting match, him and the kid.
With Sigmund. And
Yeah.
just the names when they leave, and I was like, yeah, I'll use that sentence in the future.
Although I did like the idea of, death isn't the thing to be afraid of. You imagine if you had these problems. Which
that was quite
a bit of a two-pronged message, I guess.
Yeah. I guess one of the reasons why I had a problem with how some of the mental health was portrayed was because I don't know. I'm trying to put these thoughts together in my head. So you've got Bob saying, I have all these issues, being very open about it. But how can I explain it? So he's kind of, I don't know, verbal diarrhea at the therapist and like, oh, I've got all these issues and help me and let me come with you. But he's not at all like that with other people, say. Like, I don't know, the way that he's with the therapist makes it seem like he can't pick up on the cues of like, oh, I need space, you can't be following me here, this is inappropriate, you can't be coming to my vacation house, blah. But then with everybody else, it's very obvious that he does pick up on cues.
Yeah.
So, and that portrayed with the fact that when they're talking about the Tourette's thing and some of the issues he has, or even one exchange with the therapist where he stops shouting or being upset as soon as the therapist gives him the answer that he wants.
Oh yeah, baby steps.
Yeah, but the way that they portrayed it made it seem like it was an attention-seeking device. And it's like, but that's not the message that you want, because that's something I think is already in society where those people think that mental health problems are attention-seeking when they're not. And that was why I had a problem with how it was portrayed.
Yeah, that was my main problem with it.
Yeah. It was always on a very fine line between whether you thought he actually had any proper issues or whether he was doing it just to, get people to look at him.
Yeah, and get people to sort of like him and hang out with him.
Yeah. And then you wonder what people, other people take away from that who haven't had an experience with mental health. And then you kind of think, well, he's clearly just kind of playing out this thing. I don't know. That wasn't. I guess that kind of took me out of the movie a bit. That was a wrong headspace to be in. But his this is just becoming a conversation into Bill Murray's acting skills, but just.
Oh no. I thought his acting was very good, but the message portrayed.
Yeah. I had a thing underlined which was like Bill Murray, like ideal candidate for this thing, but relationships with other people is something I think he can portray quite well. But I think some of the phobias and everything that he was meant to be showcasing didn't work. But I don't know whether that's because it wasn't. I don't know whether that was because just of the type of film. Like if it was actually serious, he might
have been able to showcase them a bit more.
Yeah, but maybe because it was meant to be in like a light-hearted sort of way, the way that he was directed to do it made it seem less. I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess it's a harder one to review than the last one because of the comedic standpoint, and it's not done from it's not really done from Bob's perspective, is it?
No, it ends up being more about the therapist.
Yeah, and you are a third person watching the scenario. You kind of have lots of other movies which you might get more of a character's take on it, and even though they're meant to, I don't know, even just okay, this person's done bad things, but then you get to see the whole picture, and you kind of, you are drawn into their life and get a feeling for and feel sorry for or whatever for that character. And in the same way, you get to see it from their eyes. But this is not. This is just like, oh, laugh at Bob doing this silly thing, and then he makes the therapist very angry, and the therapist attacks him, and then tries to kill him with lots of explosives.
Yeah, I'm sort of torn between. Obviously, as a comedy film, I can't see it as a serious take on, or having any sort of serious standpoint or view of mental health issues. And I think, on the whole, they are used as What's the word? Nope, gone. They are just used for comedic value.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
But there you go.
So many notes that I wrote. Yeah, I could come across as intention-seeking equals not the way it should be portrayed. In really, and oh my god, the puppets. The scene with the puppets. Do you remember? No, just like Anna.
Yeah.
You know you don't talk to your father, but you talk to him.
What's my phone?
I thought you had somebody within the
Bear with me a second. I don't know how to mute myself. Hang on.
I'm just gonna talk to the people of the world. It's really hard to try and have a conversation with yourself online when somebody else is on the phone. But what points can I bring up? So, this is really, really awkward. I'm used to doing kind of vlogs when it is literally only me in the room with the camera rather than with somebody kind of on the other end. I hope she doesn't think I'm mocking her now. But yeah, there's actually this scene right at the end of the movie where the therapist essentially has just had some sort of breakdown and he tries to blow up Bob. And obviously as a comedy they try to play that up and he thinks it's his radical new therapy and it's meant to completely heal him of all his problems because he thinks like, oh, I actually might die here. But obviously, oh yeah, and then he manages to get out. He takes the bombs, which he doesn't think are bombs, back to his therapist's house. He comes down to congratulate his therapist on what wonderful new therapy that he's got. And then his house blows up. And I don't know whether using a mental health thing for this movie was a good idea at all. I don't know. It's for other people to decide. This looks like quite a serious problem. So, Wynn's gonna wait a second.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
That's all right. Oh no.
I'll tell you later. I don't have to go in, it's fine.
You don't have to go in.
I don't. Not yet.
Oh no. And they called
not tonight, anyway.
Oh. I'm sorry, I can't come in. I've been drinking.
That's right, carry on. What were you saying?
I really don't want to watch this video back because I'm floundering by myself. Talking about the end of the movie, going, yeah, and this happened.
Sorry, well, of course I wasn't expecting it to go.
Fine, work. This is why it's been so hard to record other Black Dogs as well, because of complete lack of time. So.
Fucking job. I hope this goes live.
I think after a 5-month break and down a presenter, we are allowed a floundery episode.
Foundery. Like a foundry. No, shh. Stop.
Shh. Voices. Is this not the right thing to say on this sort of channel? No.
An iron floundery. What?
But I was very badly discussing the end of the movie with the death therapy and the blowing up the therapist's house.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that the therapist has basically had a breakdown because he hates Bob so much because he won't leave him alone, and his family has decided that Bob is actually much more fun and approachable and the whole shebang.
Because all the therapist cares about is his issues.
Yes. His interview for his new book and the fact that Bob gets in on that as well. feels like he's being replaced in the family, and then completely loses it and tries to murder Bob with dozens of explosives.
With a boom.
So it's questionable at best.
At best.
So yes, so we should move it along to how you felt about Leo. Dr. Leo Marvin as a character, who is a therapist who starts off as very egotistical, doesn't give a damn about his patients until he meets Bob, in which case he doesn't care about his patients still. He just hates Bob.
I really didn't like him. What a surprise.
I feel like that's all I'm going to say on that.
And that's that. Moving on. No, the attitude was just completely... I don't even know the word, it just made me angry. Like with the whole, oh no, I'm better than you because, you know, I'm a qualified therapist. So I know exactly what's wrong with him. He just needs to be shut out and given this book.
Baby
this
steps.
book that's the be-all and end-all. Sure.
You just keep saying baby steps.
There's a bust of Sigmund Freud behind him during the interview, and he's called his son Sigmund. And it's just, I don't know whether that's sort of meant to be some sort of reference to the fact that Freud's works have been discredited.
This is a point, yes, that could be.
Maybe the film is better than it first seemed. It's still a good film, go watch it if you really want to. Yeah, maybe I thought maybe that was a reference to the fact that Freud's works have been discredited, because obviously as the film goes on, Leo loses it, and it turns out that he realises he's not been doing the things he should, and his family realise that actually he's not the man that they thought he was.
I guess the weird thing is, I think, on the face of it, I don't know, is it kind of it's a watchable movie? It's not that bad. I guess I don't really see what they were trying to do with it, really, because I'm just thinking of the ending as well. So Bob is, I assume, meant to have, be fully recovered from this death therapy. That obviously is not a thing, but
from his therapist trying to kill him.
And then he marries Leo's sister, which the sheer anger wakes the therapist out of this now sort of anger coma, anger paralysis.
Should anyone wish this, or if anyone thinks this man and woman should not be married, speak now. And obviously you see the therapist in his wheelchair just going...
Yeah. Some sort of anger paralysis, but and then they're all happy that he's now out of his vegetative state, and everybody comes together and it's all happy, and I don't know.
And then you see, Bob gets married to Leo's sister, and the family all gather around Leo, who's just standing in the middle like...
And I was like, that must mean everything's fine.
Wow, what a good ending.
And kind of, we had the little subtitles which said, he made Bob retrained as a psychotherapist, wrote the book, The Death Therapy, and then Leo was suing him for the rights. But I don't know, there was an element of I felt that they ran out of ideas and they didn't know how to end the movie, and they just kind of all squashed it together at the end.
So everyone lived happily ever after and no one learnt anything.
Right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think...
So there were lessons to be learned, but don't worry, no one learnt them.
I think that it's absolutely fine to take something that's a serious issue and make something comedic out of it if you can. But I just think because it wasn't done from the perspective of somebody who has mental health issues and kind of seeing positives out of that. Not to say that there weren't, because you did get to see Bob as a proper person interacting with everybody else. But because it was underlined by this attention-seeking thing as well that they were kind of portraying, that you didn't really get what they were trying to what point they were really putting across, I suppose. Just weeping quietly over there.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Again, as a film, if I hadn't been sort of looking into it for the mental health issues thing, I was sat and gone, yeah, this is an alright film, but one that I don't have to think about. As we were looking at it because of the mental health issues thing, and as someone with a past of, mild mental health issues, whatever, yeah.
Uncomfortable near.
Mm.
Can you? I'm trying to think whether this is appropriate. I don't know. As the portrayal of the therapist is kind of egotistical, blah. Do you think that has any grounding in reality? Therapist.
Depends which therapist you go to.
Coming across ones that I don't know really shouldn't be in the position that they're in, or abusing it in the same kind of way, although not to the not quite to the same level as this movie is portraying.
On the whole, I think that it doesn't. I mean, I can't speak for America, but in the UK, I think they are chosen very carefully. But some therapies work well with some better than others, no matter what they are or no matter who the person. It's a personal thing. Something that works for me may not work for the next person. But I have come across people who, you may have a personal clash with your therapist. You might not just like their mannerisms or the way they go about things or the particular branch of therapy they're in, sort of CBT or I can't actually think of any of the names of the others, which is bad. But CBT versus anything else, whatever. You may not get on with a particular method of therapy, which is fine. But I think it's very rare to come across someone with that sort of attitude in the UK, at least. Again, I can't speak for the USA. I think it is probably more money based over there. I'm not sure. Again, I don't want to say anything that doesn't have any groundings in truth, so I'll retract that.
Or just, maybe not even therapists, but maybe GPs and going down the idea of GPs, line of GPs.
GPs can still be very dismissive of people with mental health issues.
I guess that's where I saw that kind of portrayal going, more than somebody who's actually actively dealing with the mind and just the mind. I think attitude that I come across more from general GPs because I've done a lot of moving around. I've had to swap quite constantly to various, so I've had quite a lot of experiences with quite a lot of different types going in for like initial assessments all the time whenever we swap doctors.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I've read about some kind of GPs that you can go to because they have like a specific interest in a thing. So I've yet to meet somebody quite like that. But come across a lot of the time where they either completely dismiss it and say that it's not, this mental health thing is not an issue, or on the opposite side of things, they dismiss everything else because of one mental health issue that you have. So sorry, go on.
I was going to say, oh, well, you have a history of anxiety. Maybe your stomach problems and headaches are related to that.
Yeah, precisely, yes. And yeah, like the Tumblr post, which goes, it's just like, am I actually sick or just very anxious? But I think, I know that, I have anxiety problems, but I think I've got to the point where I'm pretty good at being able to recognize when it's all stemming from anxiety, and even though that can get pretty bad, I don't go and see somebody about it because I go like this is all panic related or whatever. But when I started getting really bad headaches and muscle problems, and this started from not having had like some sort of 2 weeks of complete or more complete like
Yeah.
and because I don't get headaches, and because I generally didn't get all these muscle problems, and we think it was linked in with work at the time, it's like, so I wasn't even anxious when I went in, thinking like, oh, I've got these problems, and they're like, yeah, it's anxiety. And then when I went in to check it 2 weeks later, because it had got worse, like I saw when you see you've got your record there, because I didn't hide the screen. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna check your notes. On the top of the form, it just said like anxiety sufferer. I was like, oh great,
Yeah.
I'm branded.
It's a bit like the red A.
Just
Stitch it on all your clothes.
So yeah, that wasn't good. So I had to go in several times, but it's one issue, just because nobody was actually taking it seriously until somebody was like, actually, this is a proper problem, not like
Proper problem.
proper problem. Thanks for that. So and that's one thing I decided to look into, from asking other people their experiences with GPs and how they found their mental health issues addressed. And I've had quite a few, especially surrounding eating disorders and stuff, where they're written off as not existing. The problem, binge eating. I had a friend who was told that she was making it up and it wasn't an issue. Which is not what you want to hear, and I'm sure that person needs to get fired. But oh my god, you're just like I couldn't believe it. Just you said like this isn't actually an issue. You're just very hungry, and you'll be fine. I haven't broken you. Please say something. Please say something. Is your microphone still on?
Yes.
Good.
This day and age, can't believe that GPs still don't connect mental and physical health issues as being real as each other, but then connecting physical symptoms with mental health issues. Like, yeah, a lot of them do, but the few that don't astound me.
It's not that I'm writing off either, that if you have, as we're going along the theme of anxiety at the moment, if you have anxiety problems, that all this physical stuff can happen purely because of that. Like, I've been there and that's happened. I'm aware of that. But I don't know. I think, especially because I'm in a good spot now, I can safely say that, like, this was actually separate physical conditions that were then written off because I had anxiety.
Yeah.
And then, if you've got that happening, and then you have these other things occurring where somebody has an issue, and then somebody's telling you, that's not actually an issue. It's like, well, clearly it is. This is controlling somebody's life. And you're just saying that it's not a problem. And a big sigh. So, not that I want to write off all GPs either, because
I was going to say in general.
Yeah. Also have very good GPs.
Yeah.
It just depends who you get. I think you should be, you kind of shop around with the GPs. Find somebody who's going to...
An awful thing to say, but yeah, you should. And if you don't, if your GP at your doctor's surgery you don't get on with, repeatedly ask to speak to a different doctor. I'm not sure if the doctor that I regularly see is actually my GP.
Mm.
But I ask her every time.
That's what you need, yeah.
Yeah, because she's known my history since the start of university. She knows how to deal with me. Is probably not the right word. I don't think I'm difficult.
I like the way you said that. I don't think I'm difficult. I think no, because I mean my most amazing doctor I ever had was somebody who wasn't my GP, but I always saw him because he knew like my entire family history. So it was nice to go to somebody and then not have to keep re-explaining things all the time as well.
Yeah.
Starting again, because then you've got the. I think that was a problem as well when I had the actual physical condition, because I had to see just with that like 5 different doctors because they never had the same ones there. So you kept re-explaining it, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I think the other doctor was wrong," and I got like constant changes in diagnoses, and it was.
I wanted a second opinion, not a 5th opinion.
Yeah. And it was like, well, actually, I came in feeling more or less all right, but like you keep just changing what I'm meant to have, and I don't know. Oh, it's so bizarre. We've got really off topic, but
Yeah, that's fine.
we've stayed on the topic of mental health though, so that's always good. I did have health anxiety bolded just because of his constant problems. I think, yeah, we had avoiding walls and avoiding walls of the corridors, agoraphobic, germophobic, avoiding bad thoughts because he passes the person on the street who's going like, oh, it's going to be a shit day or whatever, and he's just like, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm doing fine. He says it louder and louder and louder. And then I can't remember what it's called. When he's going like, I'm happy, he's actually tapping, and it's E. So it's a tapping therapy where you say that and you're meant to do it on points where it's, I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. Oh yeah, he's worried he's going to fall on wet floors, so he like walks very carefully. He's scared of the elevator. He gets in, it goes down, and he screams.
The one that made me sad was the bladder one.
He thinks his bladder's going to explode. He worries when he goes out. The Tourette gets brought up because he thinks that if he fakes it, then he won't get it. Which, I don't know. I sort of found that very interesting because I would like to know whether there are people out there who think that if they actually occasionally play something out, whether it will actually mean that they don't get it. I'd like to know whether that was a thing.
Well, the idea of, well, if I, excuse the word crazy because I don't mean it like that, but if I act crazy, then that means I'm really not crazy because I know I'm acting.
I thought that was, I really, really hated that the first time I watched it because I thought
I couldn't stand that bit.
Yeah, because I thought it was kind of playing into this, like, attention-seeking thing that they were kind of subtly I don't know whether they were driving at it, but came across that way sometimes. But then, yeah, I started to think, maybe it is a thing. Maybe just, yeah, like you said, pretending, then the person is aware that they're acting it through, and they know that. I don't know whether I think that's something I found quite uncomfortable, actually. Yeah, I felt uncomfortable. Purposeful, question mark? I don't know.
Not sure.
Because, yeah, because he impersonates the policeman so that he can get his therapist's address. And...
yeah.
I wondered...
I didn't like that bit.
No. I think because of these kind of attention-seeking hints throughout the movie that I was kind of thinking... So they're also kind of portraying him as, like, rather devious. And not to say that people can be devious.
Yeah.
But... I don't know. It's so hard to try and dissect what's meant to be a movie that you don't overthink.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe it was just a comedy, admittedly, about things you don't always feel good about laughing about. I don't know.
My brain has exploded. Yeah, I think the bottom line is, okay, it's a comedic movie. You're not meant to be over analyzing this kind of stuff, but just from
on the other hand,
but because we were going to anyway, having had personal experience of various things, it's just whether it did it justice, whether I can't even form words anymore.
Although one of the things I can't decide if I like this bit or not, where the doctor, the therapist, gets Bob committed because he's got links to a doctor within the hospital, then the mental health hospital, purely because he wanted them out of the way. And the doctor goes, well, we can only hold him for a day, for tests, on your grounds, but we have to sort of give it a second opinion. And then you sort of flash back to the hospital after the therapist gets a call, and Bob's made friends with all of the nurses and the doctors, and they're going, yeah, he's completely fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
So what you just like that as a...
I can't decide if I liked it or not.
I can't decide if you liked it or not.
No, as a thing, I think I did, because then it was like, oh, well, it's just personal between him and this other therapist. But then again, it added up, well, is he just playing up the attention-seeking thing, Thor the therapist? I don't know.
I guess it's whether you're deciding, I don't know, what you're deciding is the issue. Maybe all these things that he's meant to have are not the issue. Maybe the fact that he has this very unhealthy relationship with the therapist is meant to be the thing by itself. I think.
But then I'm sure there's another film about something to do with therapy, and it's about wine or something.
About wine?
No, it's a really stupid thing, because there is a film.
The only movie that I've thought about, other than what we're discussing at the moment, is a weird movie called Beyond Therapy with Jeff Goldblum.
No, of course you did. No, I can't think what it's called.
I recommend you watch it just because it is the weirdest crap I've ever seen. I think it's I don't actually know if it's by a French director, but they have parts of the movie in French with no subtitles, so I have to understand points of what was going on.
Yeah.
They have these weird meetings in a cafe, all these dysfunctional characters, and then in various parts of the movie they go and talk to their therapist. But one of the therapists occasionally goes out of the room to have sex with another therapist. Okay. And Jeff Goldblum can't cry and is meeting this woman that he's, met up with in the kind of the Lonely Hearts pages in magazines. And they're having a nice time, but then he puts eye drops in his eyes and pretends to cry. It's the weirdest movie ever.
That sounds... What was the name of it again?
Beyond Therapy.
Beyond Therapy. I might have to give it a watch, just for Jeff Goldblum. I've just had a bit of research about the film, about Bob. I've just done a bit of, not research, but quick Googling, so not really research at all. But obviously, because the film is set in the US, therapy is a much bigger thing over there, because they can earn a lot more from it, and you get all these private therapists and everything. But there's a lot of pages on how to cope when your therapist goes away on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of results for how to cope when your therapist goes on vacation. What to talk about with your psychiatrist when he tells you he's going away on vacation. So obviously they have weekly planned things.
Yeah.
They have appointments with their therapists, and it's very important because they pay a lot of money for it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, there's loads of results. So I think maybe it's a bigger thing in America.
I
And
guess.
as
Yeah.
British people,
Mm,
there may be a nuance to the film that we're just not getting.
yeah. That's an interesting take. Yeah. Because it's in the same sense. Because medical care in general is, I can't kind of grasp at the expenses that people have to pay because we don't have it over here.
Yeah.
So, and therapy is going to be the same, I guess. I didn't realize it was like a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it seems much more of a business if you go into it. It's like becoming a lawyer or something. You can charge apparently extortionate fees.
Mm. But this makes me think, so I wonder how Bob can afford that. Like, I was wondering what job he did, because his desk is in his home. He clocks in.
He has a clock-in machine on his home desk.
Yeah, he has his fish, he has Gil, that he takes with him on vacation in a jar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of an odd one.
Oh, and the cafe owners in the film, who absolutely hate Leo Marvin, and the wife goes, "Son of a bitch." And he goes,
actually liked them.
Says that.
And that's the reason why I liked them. Son of a bitch.
I was like, yeah, I could have stick to have heard more about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a film about them.
Yeah, I guess the thing is trying to overanalyze film, which maybe doesn't lend itself to that kind of.
Oh, it's called Analyze This or Analyze That or something. It just reminded me.
Oh, the other movie.
Yeah.
Which
Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal or something. Apparently it's a gangster comedy. I always thought it was a. Oh yeah, it's a mafioso and his psychiatrist. We should watch that next. There we go.
Analyze This, was it called?
Yeah.
Analyze This.
1999 film.
I'm going to write that down. Analyze This. I was also thinking, I have no idea what it's exactly about. Silver Linings, I thought was another one.
Oh, Silver Linings Playbook with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, yeah. Yeah, that's what because I haven't seen that and I'm desperate to see that movie.
I really want to see it. Mainly because it's got Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence in it. Personal reasons.
I have reasons to watch this movie.
I have reasons.
I didn't realise, I became a really big Bradley Cooper fan actually after seeing Limitless.
Never seen that.
Watch that movie, that movie is so
Like we've gone completely off topic, sorry.
my brain has just had it with trying to dissect this movie.
Yeah, go and watch What About Bob? Seriously, anyone.
Just make up your own mind about it. I can't.
I think watching it as a comedy, just go in, don't even try and overthink it. You'll be fine. Probably.
Seriously, it's like, how can I just... Cause with Melancholia, you had something that was meant to be, metaphoric in so many reasons. You had so much imagery to do, and then I think this movie is just okay. This is a comedy. You just try and take it as face value. I think I don't know. Don't want to do that with these kind of things. I'm not sure what they're saying about mental health, but maybe that's where you should leave it.
Probably.
No, I don't know. I was about to say, like, you just shouldn't analyse Bill Murray films, but that's probably really harsh against him. I don't have anything against Bill Murray. I really don't.
No, I love Bill Murray. And the only other thing I've seen him in, which was Ghostbusters.
But that's
I think I've seen him in anything else.
It's like, oh God, now I'm going to forget the famous line. Was it, there is no Dana, there is only Zool. I don't know what it is about this line. I have a proper issue with this line now, where I will watch any other movie, and if they say something like there is no blah because it happens in the Thor
I
movie,
do this all the time.
I go there is only Zoom, and
Don't you? Dave's even done it on occasion.
I can't even remember. I think Loki said it in Thor 2, and he says
There is no something.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, there is only Zoom. And then I can sort of see his head turned towards me, like, what? It's like, I'm just obsessed with Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That went down the wrong way. Sorry.
You right?
Yeah, I'm right. Okay. I think we should leave it there. Because I cannot analyze this movie anymore. And, so, do you want to do a movie next month? Or would you like to do a game? Or would you like to do a TV show? This is how open-ended this episode is. We haven't even decided what we're going to watch next month. But speaking of, we are now going to have a regular slot where we will be coming to you with Black Dog on the last Friday of every month. Do you have any time set? We hope so hard. But,
I'm up for whatever TV show or movie. Game.
I like you kind of like shoehorned there, like I'm up for whatever show.
I'm up for whatever. In that sort of, not that way.
Well, we can do analyze this. We can do Silver Linings, or we can do a game. Or I'm really determined to find another game because I did enjoy doing that and Allude and so on.
I'm almost very cautious to suggest maybe Jack should suggest a game because there's a lot about sort of mental health and stuff. But then you think there's a lot of thriller and horror games.
I know, yeah. I've been watching.
We should talk to Jack.
Yeah, I've been watching lots of Outlast playthroughs. Not that that's anything to do with mental health, really, but I thought, yeah, some scary game would be good. Just from a standpoint of, I don't know, watching somebody play it and then just screaming and then trying to like badly dissect the movie, the game.
Yeah, scary game would be something.
Would be something. Okay, this is the challenge. So between now and the last Friday of, that's a point. This month, last
June.
Friday this month. Are we going to come early with this one?
June. Yeah, if I'm free.
Oh yes.
My job is still an issue for a while.
Okay, so we're going to come to you last Friday of, we'll say this month if it changes, but from July certainly last Friday.
Oh, yes.
So thank you for watching this absolute mess of an episode where I cannot put two sentences together. So. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my co-host, Sophie.
Thank you.
Bye.